Aloha everybody from the Aloha Tower. I'm here in beautiful Honolulu, where the tower is lit up in yellow and blue. A lot happening this week here in Hawaii in this hour, actually. Well, I guess it would be not an hour away, but a little bit more than that. An hour and 20 minutes away, according to the clock, is when we hit midnight. And at midnight, the vaccine protocol, having to show your vaccination card, expires. In other words, you will not have to, here in the state of Hawaii, you will not have to show a vaccination card to get into a restaurant. When that clock right there that reads 10:40 reads midnight. So that's an hour and 20 minutes away. What is called safe access here in Oahu will expire, and you'll be able to go to a restaurant or bar without having to show proof of vaccination, which has been so common. Like if I walk into this restaurant right now, I'll have to show a vaccination card and or a proof of a negative test, and that is all going to be a thing of the past. Now, the only thing that still is carrying over right now are mask mandates, which we have an indoor mask mandate here in Hawaii. Outdoors is obviously, unless you're a school child, outdoors has never been a mask mandate or been enforced as such. Although I heard there was at one time here in Hawaii, before I got here, an outdoor mask mandate, uh, which is surprising. But school children do have an outdoor mask mandate here in the state of Hawaii. And that's a topic that I have been interested in covering. There is a walkout scheduled, I have learned, by activists that are going to schedule a walkout of the schools. It'll be interesting to see what actually happens at the end of this next week. So I just decided to come here and take a look at the Aloha Tower. Let's talk about the Ukraine. One interesting thing about Ukraine is here in Hawaii, legislators made a statement which was mostly symbolic in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. It's funny, I've been attacked by what I think is just a troll, but somebody did actually have something to say that was accusing people of just being sheep on this subject. Now, it seems like a pretty clear subject, and there's not much ambiguity in the sense that one nation invaded another nation, and a sovereign nation at that. From Putin's point of view, as I've researched it, Ukraine became part of the Soviet Union back in, what was it, 1920 or so, after World War One. But prior to that, Ukraine did have independence for a short time prior to the Soviet Union. So it's interesting. And before that, Ukraine was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So I've been catching up on my history of Ukraine. The west part was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and the east part was part of the Russian Empire. Thus, Putin's desire to fight wars once again from a century back in order to restore Russia's sphere of influence. Now, it gets more complicated than that. Of course, if you go to 2014 and you revisit those events, there was a coup of sorts in which the government was overthrown that was sympathetic to Putin. Here, the Aloha Tower is lit up in blue and yellow in support of Ukraine. It's interesting, though, because there are these fringe sides, both on the far left and the far right, that are not trusting mainstream media sources and are somehow delving into this world of Putin apologia. And I've seen it. The Socialist publication actually came out with a describing the 2014 coup as being far right, and then the far right, or the people that we typically think of as the, let's just say, activist right, have come out and sort of, there's this internet talking point going around that, you know, Biden had dealings, of course his son had dealings in Ukraine, and therefore we're going to find out all this stuff about Biden that we're not supposed to. So it's very interesting to see the fringes on either side of the political spectrum take advantage uh, and tell their followers, or push content to their followers to not trust the mainstream media narrative. But again, it's pretty cut and dry when one country invades another, I would say. So that's why I decided to come visit here. But also on the topic of freedom, as I said, that clock is now an hour and 15 minutes away from a time where we will not have to show vaccination cards in order to get into a restaurant or bar here in Honolulu. Other stories that I covered this week was the chickens. If you've ever been to Hawaii, feral chickens are running amok, and it's kind of a big deal. They can be very loud and quite a nuisance. But the state senate here has advocated a way to give chickens birth control. So check out kitv.com. I'm Jeremy Lee. Google me, Jeremy Lee KITV, and you can see that was one of the more amusing stories that I covered this week. Other than that, it's been masks, Ukraine, vaccination restrictions finally expiring, so to speak. And I thought I'd just do a little stop here at the Aloha Tower in yellow and blue in order to talk about some of these subjects. It's been a long time since I've done podcasting, since I got here to Hawaii, and just wanted to say hello to everybody and have a good, safe night and safe weekend. Cheers.